we're live, ladies and gentlemen, here for the Dark Zone. Once again, I am your host, Hypertension, and I'm joined by two very special guests, the owner of Supernova, Tyler Combs, and the owner of Zenith, SammyB. How are you doing, gentlemen?
What up? What up? What up?
Hello.
Here we go. So, guys, why don't you just tell everybody a little bit about yourselves? Tyler, why don't you start?
All right, I'll start because I think SammyB. No, I'll start. So I guess like the short TLDR is I am the standing owner of Supernova, the brand that everyone loves to hate, and hates to love. But yeah, that's us. Been doing it for like 5 years, and I don't know. I guess I'm one of many grandfathers in the scene. But I mean, I guess SammyB takes the cake for grandfather. So, but yeah, that's me.
And speaking of SammyB, why don't you tell us about yourself?
I'm Sam. I own Zenith Esports since 2014, and now we're here. Hello.
Hello, indeed. Also, let me make sure that, okay, that is working correctly. Awesome. I was making sure the audience could hear me there. So, normally to start off every episode, we'll start off with a little bit of coverage of the two leagues. One thing in particular, let's start with the big league this week, as both of your squads have made playoffs.
We did it.
We did it, right, Sammy? Like,
good job, teams.
Good job, teams. Yeah.
Unfortunately, one of your teams had to beat the other to get there. So.
Yeah, I mean, look, we had to give Sammy some kind of upper leg, bro. He needs it.
I need it so bad.
So bad. He wants a championship at this point, man.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we're excited for playoffs. I mean, it's not exactly where we wanted to be in the ladder, thanks to Sammy's team. But I mean, I guess a Polar Ace versus Supernova semifinals is like the thing that people crave. I mean, if that's what the people want to see, yeah.
Yeah,
it's not Polar Ace, by the way. It's Buff Katarina. So
Buff Katarina.
Just be better for me, okay?
All right, man. Damn.
I had to work hard to actually help find that logo.
I mean, look, I don't know if it's like Sammy did us a favor or if like he like hurt us by beating us, because like now we're on the side with Schism and old PA Buff Katarina. So it's like I don't know if we would rather play at this point against that ex-Polar Ace or we'd rather play against Bloody. But I mean, hey Sammy, if you want Bloody Gaming, bro, hey, that's all you. Go for it, man. I believe in you.
Hey, we beat them before.
That's true. That is true. I think everybody did in the beginning, right?
Yeah, before they caught their stride and
found their flame
things
or something.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other two teams, the other teams that we have made playoffs, as we have said, are Schism, Buff Katarina, and Maryville. That one was kind of came out of the gate really hot, and I didn't quite expect them to take those wins over at ASIO and just dominate UCI.
That's right, Sammy. You don't have to play Bloody at all because they can't play in their own league, bro. You get to play against Maryville.
I was gonna say I don't see them on this group, and instead you mispronounced it. It's Nilesville, by the way.
Nilesville, sorry, Nilesville. Yeah. Camp top lane, one game. Forgot. Whew.
Yeah,
that's Zenith alum.
Yeah.
He brought SammyB at the championship. To be fair,
he did.
He must make you so proud.
Yeah, and now he's trying to take one from you, bro.
I know. Everyone thought that we were underdogs going into Player 1, but they didn't take into the account that we replaced our AD, who was kind of bad, but right before going into the tournament. So I knew that we had capability to win. I didn't think we were that huge.
Then you brought in the Spawn. God.
Yeah.
I will point out, actually, I don't think I've ever told either of you this, but when Zenith picked up Spawn, because for those of you that don't know or watching the show at the time, Spawn was an AD carry who is basically like the star player of a mid to lower tier team, Remembrance. And that team was basically the Spawn show. I was like, if he could get a team that's an actual team around him and not Remembrance, that team will probably win at least one tournament.
Nah, Spawn's a god, 100%. I think he's got unlocked.
Called it. Yeah, but and with that in mind, like the next setup in the big league, we did see a couple teams drop out, but the big two there that might, one of them being gone is Low Key, having unfortunately 2 FF, and the team that beat them, we're not going to go into that because it's questionable circumstances right now.
I'm sorry, I think you mean Viva La Low Key, because I think I'm pretty 100% sure they're just going like full Latin American route, right? Like, isn't that like their goal? Like, that's what I saw, right? They dropped the North American League of Legends team, Overwatch Latin America, R6 Latin America.
Don't they have a PUBG and NPL contenders?
They do, but aren't they like out right now? Like,
I
they're just
also heard
last.
rumors of them trying to pick up someone for Apex. So not exactly sure. What
Everyone's trying to get into.
That's everybody and their mother. Yeah, like the wave just comes through. That'll last like 30 days. But like, I mean, I think
coming soon for Zenith.
yeah, I think it's kind of lame that low key dropped out. I mean, there's so many personalities on their roster that I enjoyed seeing play, and it just seemed like such a sudden thing. Like, yeah, like I think again, I try to be very careful on these things because so many people think that like TCombz doesn't like so and so. I think that at least from SammyB and I, like there is enough to say that the people at low key are doing a stellar job branding wise. I think they push that stuff so well. I think the problem is there are certain games where they set the bar too high too early, which really killed the joy for them. I think they expected a lot out of their league team. Like they had some upset games every once in a while. But I think assuming that you're going to go to LAN ETS and take like top 2 title, or assuming that you were going to jump into player 1 and be in the top 4, or like being big and not drop a bunch, like I think those things were just overlooked. Like I just don't, it just seemed like a little outlandish to think that like a brand new team is just going to come in and do that. Now, I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, but I think there wasn't enough data there. And then to turn around and instead of like saying like, hey, we're going to slow down, we're not going to enter so many of these, we're going to take a hiatus for a little bit and focus on the team, just like turn around and be like, hey, nah, we just don't want the team at all because we're suddenly going to try to make a push towards franchise, which, I mean, kind of was like a scratch on the head for everybody. I mean,
yeah, thinking.
I mean, Sammy's like an old god. I mean, the dude was actually in the OG Challenger series. Like, it's not that easy. So it can't be NA, which like you just got to go off the basis that it's more than likely Latin America, right? Like, because they're supposed to be next in the franchise series, but then it makes you wonder, like, how much is it going to be? Like, and did it really conflict having that team? Like, I just feel like you just like took 5 dudes, branded them really well, and then left them out to dry.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of shitty to me. Like, I mean, again, no disrespect. I think they do a stellar job with branding. I mean, right off the bat, they have grown so much. I mean, they're doing it the right way. They just didn't do League the right way. And I think that's what sucks. That's an OG section for a brand like Sammy and mine. And I just don't think I don't think people ever approach League and Amateur correctly. And I mean, we talk about this till we're blue in the face, but that's just kind of sucks. But it is what it is. What's the other team that dropped out? Oh, you're talking about Clarity.
Yeah, I say they're still.
I was like, who is he hinting
a little
at?
bit of developments going on there. They might be staying, they might not. We probably will have more information by the end of the weekend. But on the topic of low key, why don't we take a moment to remember those teams that we have lost in the Bloody Invitational Gaming League?
Okay.
Oh, I thought he had like a clip.
Was there a video?
Sorry. Trying to.
Oh, it does.
Amen. So yeah, as that was saying, it's like I did end up choosing the Bagpipes over Dust in the Wind because Dust in the Wind is just a little bit too overused.
I don't even know what that song is. So Sammy, that shows your age, bro. Just
Holy. Okay.
I'm just being.
I'd sing it for you.
Wait, Tyler, aren't you older than me?
Yeah, but that just shows your age too.
You're an old soul.
You're an old soul, bro. I don't know
Okay,
if
fair
that's a
enough.
good or
The
bad
hat
thing.
should indicate that.
You probably got a savings account for your retirement already, right?
Please.
What?
I do.
I mean, I know
What's
Sammy,
that,
his
bro?
401k is
I'm
stacked.
still a
So,
college
It's
student.
stacked AF, bro.
so hey, ladies,
still a
if you're
college
looking for
student.
one,
So unfortunately, I don't have
What
the
does that
income
mean?
quite to.
Just because you have, where's all your shoutcaster money go, bro?
Question is, what shoutcaster money?
Thank God I didn't get in that business. One of these
It takes a
days.
bit before you get paid, but all right. Now, with that in mind, guys, again, with the big league, that is going to be our teams eliminated. They were Team Bricks, F3 Visuals, Low Key, BG19, and potentially Team Clarity. We'll note if they end up disbanding, we will add them to the next rotation, and also the loser of AZO versus Eradication. So on that game, who do you guys think will end up taking that? Did either of you play against either of those teams in this tournament?
No, but Azio is taking games off of everybody, bro. The fact that anybody thinks that they're gonna lose to Eradication is like, come on, bro.
The thing is, though,
I agree. I think it's a 2-0, or is this a best of 5 for it?
it's best of 3. The UTD
Okay, yeah.
actually 2-0'd AZO the week before.
UTD is like I think that was just a bad day for Azio, though. I mean,
Agree.
again, maybe I'm taking too much credit from UTD, but like Azio deserves credit where it can be found. And I mean, they're against Poppy's Hammer, Pathetic Parrot, Vici, Lucid, and then Clarizio. Again, no disrespect, but what was known as a Janna 1 trick, a pretty good jungler, a top laner who I haven't heard much about, a challenger mid laner who's got a pretty wide champ pool, and then an AD carry that I don't even know who that is, versus like the Ethug Sudsy duo plus Vec, and then your Charming, who I think is just like unrenowned. Like that top laner needs to he's gonna go places. So I mean, I think like Sammy said, I think it's just whoa.
Yep.
If you're a betting man.
I think that the only reason that they dropped, they did take one game off of UT,
You're
but
right.
yeah, you said it was a 2-0. You lied to us.
Yep, I
But I think that's just kind of like lulling themselves to sleep and being like, hey, we don't really respect this. And that's not like Spirit Breaker, because he's usually well prepped, but sometimes you can't prep your players enough. They just go into it and don't take it seriously. So I think that probably had a case of that.
That's the boy too. I mean, Spirit Breaker's a damn good coach, and I think he gets overlooked. I mean, like Sammy said, I think with the biggest thing with Azio is like, it's like that whole like you can lead a horse to water doesn't mean they're gonna bring you home a win. I mean, it just one bad night, it happens. I mean, I love that. I think that roster altogether is great, but I mean, Ethug, Sudsy, Vex. I mean, I'm sure like half the time it's like a party for them. So, yeah, I think it's 2. I think Azio moves on to playoffs. I think that people gotta start giving them the respect.
This is just an elimination match.
Oh, that's it?
No, like so the loser is just done.
Wait, so what happens to Azio if they win?
If AZO wins, they will go on to face Fruition for one of the final playoff spots.
How many playoff spots are there total?
There are 8 playoff spots.
Okay. And those... Okay, so Sammy and I have moved on to quarterfinals. What does that put Azio and them at?
Azio would be in where if they won their next game after this one today, they would go to quarterfinals.
Okay. I'm tracking that. So there's... Okay.
And there, of the 3 opponents they could face, it would either be Maryville, Zenith, or Buff Katarina.
Oof. Well, let's hope. Yeah, let's hope that it's not SammyB or Buff Katarina. I'd like to see a Maryville match. I think that I would want to see all the teams play. I mean, I know in Player 1 everyone's played Maryville once, but I think that that's a team that I think is too far up on their high horse right now. I think that's just Maryville needs to get taken down some notches. So I think it'd be cool to see that match.
I have been impressed by the collegiate scene as a whole thus far in this tournament specifically, and just as of late in general. Whereas usually there was only ever like 1, maybe 2 teams that could like not get rofl stomped by pretty much every amateur team. We have seen games like Maryville beating people. We've seen UCI taking games off of people. We've seen UTD beating AZO. Like there's actually like situations where collegiate are actually putting up a fight now.
Is it collegiate putting up a fight, or is the good amateur teams just having a bad pat? That's what I've been trying to figure out. Yeah, because
I don't want to take too much away from the collegiate teams like that. The scene is growing a bit. Maryville's They would be like a low tier, probably 5th or 6th place amateur team, probably. Like if they
I
were
think
to
yeah,
enter the AM scene,
I
like
would agree
as
with
amateurs.
I would agree with Sammy. I think they're getting better. I think 100% they're getting better. I mean, nobody can discredit the fact that they're like UTD is taking games off of people that, I mean, in Midwest they were. I mean, it was like 16-minute stomps against them. Now they're taking games off of people. Like I think the progression is there. I just don't. It's weird. I don't know. I'm not sold on it yet.
Yeah,
I
I'm not.
I don't want to take credit, but I'm not sold on the program being as strong as people are selling it in some places.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of it is because like how strong the UTD bot lane is.
Crazy.
If you think about it, like I would say like all the players on the team are good, but like that bot lane is just so good, even in comparison to like some of the amateur top tier bot lanes.
Yeah, I mean, I
The
guess
Johns and
That's the
YHW.
Johnson, yeah, YHW.
YHW the boy.
Yeah. So with that,
Never
let's
heard
move
of
on a little bit from big to focus on IAL for a few minutes. I know, Sammy, you don't know much about it, so
Man,
Sorry.
Sammy, why am I
Sorry.
carrying you through everything, bro?
Everything.
I'm
boy.
so tired of this.
You
speaking
gave
of
us the win
IAL,
earlier. Now you're carrying me through an interview.
yeah, speaking of IAL, Tyler, your boys are back in first in their group.
Yeah, put some respect on the name. Yeah, they're back in first. Yeah, it's look, I'm gonna be real. Like they should have been first from the beginning in this group. I think that losing right now there's kind of like a meme amongst the other SN because for those that don't know, because we haven't put it on Twitter, there's 4 of them total. So like the one that's in IAL, one in UPO, one in UCL, one in UML, and then obviously like our main squadron that's doing everything else. Because
How
ideally
do
we
you
were.
keep up with that, man? That's so much.
Hey man, I've got a some pretty good staff. Nah, we just we all work together. I mean, all the coaches and stuff keep us updated, but yeah, we try to keep up. I mean, how hard can it be? You just like track them. You just oh yeah, you played today, neat. But we're back at being top in the group. Vengeance was our go-to, but the meme right now is like Schism's been our kryptonite. Like for some reason, Schism teams just like catch us off guard and just
Which
take
is
games
funny
off.
because you're playing them in the playoffs a bit.
Right. Which is again why it's kind of a meme right now because like all of our SN teams have lost to a Schism team because Schism also has like 3 or 4 teams like Emerald, Amethyst, all that shit. So that's why for playoffs we're trying not to sleep on Schism because we don't want to drop to them as well. But yeah, we're back first in IL, at least in Group 1. So if you didn't know, Sammy, there's 2 groups, bro. So try to keep up.
All right, working on it.
But we're happy to be up top. I think that we hold a very strong feeling for Imperial Amateur League because IEL is where a lot of us started. So we're kind of excited. I mean, it's cool for them. They've made a lot of progress, especially that roster. So all the boys on that one, and they're being led by young Jarrett Ford. So he's kind of leading the charge. I know he's seen a lot of progress in them, and we're excited. We'll see where it goes. IEL's been kind of like a dark horse in like what happens. So, but we're already starting to look towards playoffs. That's our goal right now. So we'll see.
Yeah, and as he should, because right now I don't think there's a way for any of those top 3 teams to not make playoffs, as they do all have those 4 wins, whereas the next highest team after those 3 is just 2.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we're pretty much secured, but we don't sleep on it. We're trying to plan for the future. But the goal right now, I think across the board is we expect to have a title in IEL. We expect to have a title in UML. We expect to have a title in UCL. And then it's pretty much up in the air for UPL. I mean, we don't really have too many expectations. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, we're enjoying it all. I think how many leagues there are, I think it's a good time for talent development. So if you're a team that's looking to do things, these are a good way to go about it. You just want to win your money back,
Given that we don't have much coverage on IDO, actually, let's move on to something about that. Being an owner in the amateur scene, I'll say you both have been at it for a long time, much longer than I've even been in the scene, if I'm not mistaken. So,
yeah,
like, just talk to me. Like, start about like let's see. Given that talent development was something you just brought up, guys, talk to me about that. Like, bringing the new talent. How does it exactly work? Or how does it go about? Because there's so many orgs that just don't.
Yeah.
Like Loki.
Ooh, not what I was going for.
They can't. I mean, Sammy will tell you. I'll tell you. Like, the expectations are too high, bro. Like, one, they're spending money where they shouldn't be spending money. That's the key thing. I don't know why so many of these, like, it's great that you can spend $200 to have a logo made that, I mean, some guy that you know from some guy that did it for like $60, but they just spend the money wrong. Like I think that like a lot of these teams, like the reason the talent doesn't get developed is because the money spent wrong, the expectations are too high, and there's no longevity. I mean, somebody even said it in chat. Like it's a problem with college teams too. Like nobody sticks to their guns for longer than like 6. Yeah, not even. I would say like 90 days.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, we lost. We might as well just ditch this team and move on. And like Sammy and I have been there. Like we've had rosters for years. We've had rosters for 6 months plus that just work together, even through losses. I mean, like the running joke is like, I was on my original SN roster. It was like I was gold playing with the Diamond kids because I just didn't know how to like pull myself off. So I think that like it's just the longevity, man. Like if these rosters all want to perform, start holding your players for longer than a month. You know, start making the commitment to like, hey, we're gonna go at this for 6 months at the best of our ability. You know, but don't start sending them to Player One lands. Don't send them to Midwest Invitation. Like, don't go to that stuff. It's just not the place for you right now, and that's all right. Like, you wouldn't send your 6-year-old to a college football team. Just doesn't make sense. So, but maybe Sammy has more comments on it. I mean, he's been at it a little bit longer than me. So,
I think you hit on it pretty well with managing expectations. I don't want to put it all on the org though, because sometimes the orgs will stick with players, and then players will be like, nah, after 2 weeks or a month, and you've put that time into a player, and then they just dip out on you. But realistic expectations, hey, you're not going to go from zero to hero. There's baby steps.
yeah.
I mean, look at my roster, right? It's been together for 3 months now. We still haven't hit our stride, but it's slow improvements. And because I know that from the past, like sometimes rosters just they start off shittily, and you need to build them up before they can beat your supernovas and polar races or buff Katarinas. So
You can't
yeah,
make up
it's
a
a
word,
it's a
Sammy.
grind. What shittily?
Like, that's, you can't just make it. I mean, I think Sammy makes a great point. I think it, yeah. I mean, I like to blame org owners because I am one. So I like to turn and point fingers at guys that like, we just spent $200 and rebranded ourselves. And then those rebrands don't last like 60 days. But it isn't really their fault. Like, players don't commit to anything nowadays, man. Holy cow. Like, you'll have guys that'll, I mean, we did tryouts for 110 something players, and I think that maybe 20 of them committed to like sticking to the program. So like I've seen it firsthand. Like it's hard because like they don't like, it's like Sammy said, they don't like getting beat down. Like it's not fun entering a player one or whatever and then getting beat down by the old gods, and then suddenly like it's just not fun for you. Like you don't focus on like, hey, like don't worry, like we'll get better, just like stick with it. Like it's like I need to be on a different team with a different roster with a different coach, and maybe that my chances go up. It's never like, hey, if I practice, the practice will make me better. And in the long run, it might take a while, but we'll get there. It's always like, nah, this roster sucks. I need a new one.
Yeah, I
So
think for players especially, like if you go to an organization and you're expecting to improve, then go there to improve. Take what you can from the org. Don't just leave because you're losing. Stay in the structured environment that will help you with scrims. And then instead of just jumping ship to 5 other randoms, actually prove yourself. You're going to
yeah.
go to the P1 league and everything. You'll be able to shine in your team. People will be like, hey, he's a little too good for that team, and then other orgs will notice you, and you'll be able to move up in the proper way instead of just bouncing around like a pinball or whatever.
On the
Yeah.
flip side, though, I will say that there are that as someone that's like, I did not own an org nearly on the scale that you guys did, just kind of in the small. There are a lot of orgs that don't know how to develop players, don't know how to do that. Like I know for the longest time, and again, no offense to anybody I mentioned here, it's just what I have. This is like words coming from others, not myself. That there were a couple of orgs like Dawn say about a year and a half ago. People kept saying it's like things like honors. They say it's like that there were orgs that just didn't exactly have the depth of supporting staff to develop the players, and that's one of the reasons why I always say it's like it's a little bit harder to develop talent if you're not one
I
of the
mean,
big orgs.
I think it's cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't have any hard feelings. I think it's cool that things like Dawn, things like Schism, things like Fruition, like I think it's cool that those things all exist and they have like 5 or 6 teams, and I think it's cool that like people want to go there just to get the play time. But it's like Sammy said, and I mean, Zoo and there's others that have said it. Like I mean, I hate that this excuse is made that like people don't know how. Like there are plenty of people around you telling you how to do it, and you just don't want to listen. Like step one is like stop making 6 teams at a time to just like what I call Easter egging the players. Like you just try to put as many in a basket and hope you find like the group of 5 that's going to carry you into player 1. Like actually do tryouts, find the 5 that you want, give them a coach that wants to progress with them, and like start making yourself a staple in the scene. We don't need like a team of Emerald and Ruby and Diamond. Like give me just a Dawn roster, give me just a Schism roster, give me like I get what people want to do, okay? Like I am right now I am guilty of having 4 or 5 rosters
I was
at
about
a
to
time.
say.
I
But
think it's a different case because you
yes,
establish yourself first and then
right.
expand it into other rosters. You don't just
Right.
expand into 6 in the very
And then
beginning.
grow into 1. Like that, there's no such thing as expanding into 6, grow into 1. Like it just doesn't work that way because Sammy doesn't do it, but I've done it. Like I established 1 team. People acknowledge who the main roster is. Like when you come into bouts with it, you know who the 5 are. And then the reason we went about going with 4 more rosters in 4 different leagues was like, there is a problem with talent development within the scene. I'm not going to go looking at Dawn, Schism, Fruition. Like I'm not going to go watch their 5 teams playing the 5 random leagues or whatever it is. Like I know the players that I want to see play, and I'm trying to put them on rosters so that way I can see how they develop. I mean, there's a good chance. No, there's not a good chance. We'll just say it out loud. Like when the league's end, probably 15 of those players will just go off on their own again. And there will probably be like 4 or 5 that we actually keep. And that's just because right now the talent pool is kind of limited to who you want to play on your team. But we want to allow other players to have that opportunity to show themselves within our own brand and give them that opportunity. Like, I don't want somebody having to worry about their league fees or like if somebody's going to keep them around. Like, hey, the goal is we're going to keep you. We're going to keep you for the entire league. We're going to give you the room to grow. We're going to give you a coach, and we'll see what happens. I mean, if you happen to be that diamond in the rough, cool. We'll keep you around, and who knows? Maybe you're a sub for the main team, and one day you're a starter. It's like Sammy said, like you got to start to build yourself. But I don't think these other orgs go about it the correct way. I think everybody forgot what it was like to have just one roster, one main team, and they're so focused on like we want to provide an environment for everybody. But like, are we selling T-shirts or are we selling talent? I just don't know what we're doing at this point. So, but that's my 2 cents.
Sammy?
I think that everything Tyler said is warranted and valid. I don't really have a caveat. So
Sammy and I look, if there's somebody in this entire league that you could have picked to do this with me, it's SammyB. SammyB and I tend to agree on a lot of levels. You know, we might be rivals some nights, but we tend to agree on pretty much.
That is a good thing to see is owners who can't get along. I'm sorry, Sammy?
We've just been doing it for a long time. So
yeah, it's not paying. Look, the day that this pays for SammyB and I's beach vacation is the day that, people can do whatever they want.
I just did my taxes, and you look at like the amount that you earn and then the amount that you spend on an organization, right? When you run an LLC,
right?
and
Yeah.
Not
add up, bro.
I made 16,000. Okay, do you want to take a wild guess at what I spent?
Probably like 25, to be honest.
Exactly, 25,000. So it's a net loss. Like, I'm doing it like as a passion project. Hopefully, at some point in time, we'll be able to make a profit. I was hoping PUBG might do that, but we're not doing the best there.
Do I need to play the Amazing Grace again?
Yeah, right.
No, dust in the wind, bro.
I told you, the Super Zen is coming, bro. Just give us some time.
Yeah, we'll have to collab on a project and see how it goes.
There you go.
But yeah, it's not but for anything but the love of kind of developing talent and the love of esports that kind of keeps orgs like us going, because there isn't a way to make money currently unless you make it.
Well, and the other thing is like, I was just talking to Lucian tonight, like Lucian and Serza. Like, at the end of the day, brands like myself, Sammy, you know, Bloody, like we'll give credits to the top 6. Azio, like we don't want to be a permanent spot for these guys. Like I tell guys all the time, like I want you in and I want you out just as fast as you came in. Like the idea is like we want you to go to pro, we want you to be an academy, and like we just want to be a stepping stone. And to be a stepping stone means that we're going to spend more money than we're going to get back, with the understanding that these guys are just going to move on and do big things, and then we'll give them the thumbs up. We'll get a little bit of branding for like a week saying, hey, like he came from here, and then it just kind of dies out. So yeah, I think that, you know, just to kind of round it out, like that topic is like, hey, I know a lot of these orgs want to be a part of the grouping. I mean, I think like at the end of the day, like if we were to get a group call and you were to ask me to pick teams to put in it, like it would really just be like Bloody, Zenith, me, Azio, and maybe a couple other teams, but it's not going to be those other guys that I'm going to ask the opinions of, because it's like we want to see them do it the right way. So you know, when they have their own Gamepedia page and it's got results on it, that's when I'll start to care.
Yeah, and I'd like to speak to Tyler's point. Like, if you click on the link that I posted in chat, you can just scroll down and look at all the players that have come through Zenith. I mean, you'll see a lot of LCS people on there, a lot of academy
Right.
kids, a lot of the people that are in the scene today on different teams. You know, it's get in and move up. Like we want the best for our players. So maybe one day in an interview with Shocks on the world stage, they'll be like, "Oh, by the way, thanks Supernova for like helping me out when I needed it."
Right,
But
right,
that
right.
hasn't happened yet. But
Give me my high five on stage, you know what I'm
just
saying?
give me a high five, bro. But nah, not
Zazel
yet.
not stopping you guys
5
on the
years and counting.
Zazel not name dropping Zenith after getting to after getting to semis feels bad, man.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
feels
see,
bad,
mine's not
bro.
as pretty as his, but you know, he's got a professional writer. But yeah, I mean, like Sammy said, like at the point where when your Pedia page shows results, shows people moving forward and all that fun stuff, and you can take that actual credit for it, cool. But like the other thing we have to avoid is like if your esportspedia page is just you
Your
putting that
logo.
like, hey, so and so is your logo, and you saying so and so used to be here, I'm not sold on it, you know. So, but yeah, I mean, look, we always harp on the little guys. Like we like them. I mean, without new orgs, we don't have leagues, and I think that if you were to leave leagues to the 8 teams that are currently around, like holy shit show. I mean, they would just be a mess as it is. So I mean, we appreciate that kind of stuff, and talent gets found through those kinds of teams. It's just those teams are always watching and they're always like, oh, we want advice on how to be sustainable. Like, look, man, you're going to spend more than you're worth, and you need to start keeping it down to 5 players. That's my 2 cents. And I think Sammy would feel the same. So, you know.
Yep.
And spending more than you're worth is honestly just the state of the scene as a whole. Like at the level that we're at, if you're expecting to make money back, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Like at this point, like at this level, it needs to be a passion. Like I could definitely say that like for my setup on all that. Okay, I actually just thought about the clutch competition and what I've won. Okay, I might have broken even because I did win like about $300 worth of peripherals, but I'm one of the rare exceptions in that until you hit it, at least even in casting, you're not going to make much money or really even break even for a bit if you're trying to get like a decent setup. And it's even worse for like orgs, leagues, all that kind of thing.
The thing is like, I also think that people doing it that have these high hopes are too, like, again, I'm not knocking anybody's age. I think you can do anything that you put your mind to. But I have, in my personal experience, sat down with too many people that are too young and they just don't understand it right now. Like, if you have to come to me and tell me that like it's too much to do one team at a time, meanwhile Sammy and again, I'm not trying to blow smoke in Sammy's ass or my own, but it's like if him and I can go to 9 to 5, still manage the things that we do in different games and come back, like your excuses are null. Like you just have to make it work, man. Like at the end of the day, like it's rough, man. I think that some of these orgs, if they wanna be big, hey, it's time to make some cuts, fellas. You know, let's narrow it down to the 5. Let's brand these 5 and let's start trying to get back in. Like your ultimate goal, realistically, especially if you're big in the league, should be trying to get yourselves into player 1 big. Like you want to be in the league. If you're not, probably time to sit down and look at your spring agenda.
I'll say something to Oregoners. I can count on my first finger, not even my whole hand, like the times that someone has reached out to me and like asked for advice. Like, hey, I'm kind of struggling, like building things up. Like, if you ask me, and I'm sure that Tyler's the same way, like I'll give you advice. Like I'll have a sit down with you for 15 minutes and talk about like how to, put roots down and move forward like that. But it
Hmm.
never happens. Everyone tries to do it on their own and reinvent the wheel. But granted, like reinvention of the wheel might be appropriate just for the amateur scene in general because it's amateur scene. But as far as
Mhm.
establishing an org, I don't think that much has changed.
Slow and steady. That wins the race for people.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think if you guys have any questions, feel absolutely free to ask what what you want for either of my guests or even me if you
Ooh,
like have any questions there. But yeah,
I'll answer that question for the 4 Goldie. He asked Sammy, he said, due to on Twitter, I saw that from my understanding, the owner of PA was saying that PA is valued at 1 million. But my question is, how can that really be?
It
All
can't.
right, it can't. Look, man, like no meme to him. If he has found the way, hey man, throw some money this way because I'm trying to find the way too. All right, I'm trying to drop my 9 to 5. But I think at the end of the day, like it's pretty obvious that like it maybe to somebody it is worth that much. Maybe some Chinese investor. I mean, it's not unheard of. It's just, man, how many times in this scene I am at fault of it big time. Do we fall for that whole catfish routine? Like, I think you're a great roster. I think you're worth this much money. Let me give you some money. You go with this whole mentality. You start telling people, and then it doesn't work. So I think that, look, if they're worth that, it'll show. Like, you'll see the first Polar Ace Gaming House. You'll see it. But I think for the most part, like, kind of hold your breath on that one.
What
Take
games
it.
are they in?
They're in a bunch. They're in like Ring of Elysium, PUBG on a small
Okay.
level,
Dead game.
CS:GO.
Dead game. Okay.
Yeah, like no
and then
league
everybody's trying to
anymore.
get into things like Apex and Fortnite.
Apex, Fortnite. Yeah, I mean, they're trying to put their brand in small places all over the place. Like I wouldn't say they're in something that's like they're not like. I mean, I think they're in ESEA Advanced in CS:GO, but like I mean, I don't even touch CS:GO with a 10-foot pole, so I don't.
Same.
I mean,
It's
I,
sketchy.
I think that before you put $1 million valuation on your company, you kind of need to be big in
yeah,
something
give
that
me
is
something
also
worth $1
big.
million. Yeah,
That is not where I thought you were
You
going to
can't.
go with that. I thought you were going to make a CS:GO commentary there.
no.
Because
The Eddie, how?
rest in peace there, Virio Pro.
Oh,
I,
okay, yeah.
I think Ring of Elysium has like 3,000 concurrent players. Just saying.
Yes. I mean, and like this, like again, I
Oh.
mean, no knock to that. How? Oh yeah. So the Eddie, I mean, the big playoff sheet. I'm sure Hyper can get you that. Like it's
Mhm.
seeded specifically to how we play. They did the Swiss, which was pretty interesting. Like 3 wins got you in, 3 losses got you out. I'm sure that Hyper and them can show you that mega sheet if they really want to. But I think your question for sure and fire, if he's coming back to play for Supernova and Amateur, that's a question we've gotten a lot recently. I would say that that's kind of to be determined. It's nothing against Shuren. It's nothing that I mean, Shuren still is part of our practices. He's still relevant to us. He was kind of going through a move. He's now a resident of Toronto. So if you're in the Toronto area, shout out to Shuren. But streaming's really big for him right now, and we really want to push that because that's a lot of his branding. I mean, you guys have seen it. Like any league that comes on, they can't even compete with the amount of people that he has that want to come and watch him. So um, with him being in Toronto, wanting to get back to streaming, and like, I mean, that's a big source of income for him, and we don't want to take that away. Like, the big thing is we want that man to be comfortable. So, hopefully, we get him back in some games. Right now, he's kind of a mentor for Iconic, our OG jungler. So we're hoping that he can teach Iconic a thing or two and push him in the right direction. So hopefully, I guess Ethan, as we know him, will get his opportunity to be in academy. I mean, Sharon's seen the world stage, so we're hoping that maybe he can help Ethan see some stages. But I mean, I think a lot of people wants to see Sharon. I think he was a big selling point for us, and we want to see him too back on the stage. But we're all about livelihood, and if his livelihood is streaming, we want to keep it that way. So, but hey, shout out to Sharon, shout out to Ethan. I mean, those guys, they really do put in work. I don't think our wins right now have spoken for it, but I think that I don't think our losses are coming from not having Shern. I think our losses are strictly just coming from our own gameplay. I think Shern was a key piece in pushing some people, but I don't think he was the sole reason we were winning. I think our losses are coming from just the roster itself. And I mean, I think Shern was helpful. I think he was huge in playing a part and pushing it. But you know, hopefully we get to see him back. I wouldn't say, like I said, I know that directly you're trying to tell me it's no, but that's not true. Like, he will play some games. He just won't directly play games right now. So it's just how it is.
And another thing, I would like to get your opinions as owners on the Swiss system and like how you feel like the Bloody tournament has gone thus far.
I liked it a lot. I
Yeah.
thought it was a nice change of pace from the norm.
Yeah, I would agree. I
Personally.
think the change of pace was nice. It was relaxed. We weren't like knowing that we just needed 3 wins was pretty nice, you know, because then you just set the goal like, hey, if we knock this out early, we don't got to worry about this too much moving forward. So I think that was pretty neat.
Yeah. Let's say we're coming up with the system because I was pretty much the driving force behind bringing it. I did fail to take into account scheduling. I'm not going to lie, and I know that's been a bit of a pain in y'all's asses, and I'm sorry about that. Gonna go ahead and say guilty there.
I mean, the scheduling's not that. I think all amateur.
Week 1 was pretty bad. Let's get real.
Well, I think that the expectation is you guys want stream content. And, like, I think that for us, it's like we want you to have stream content. Like, nobody likes to reschedule. It's just anybody that does amateur seasons needs to understand, like, the flexibility has to be there. We are going to reschedule on you whether you like it or not. And if you turn around and tell us, like, hey, this is going to be a forfeit or a penalty, you're only hurting yourself because I'm just going to turn around and I'm going to be like, peace, buddy. Like, I don't have to play in this. I want to play in this. But if you're going to put restrictions on it, then that's a problem. But you guys were pretty cool about it. You guys did a really good job of accommodating it. I mean, you were quick on the answer. So I know Sammy and I appreciate that. And I mean, you made everybody's lives easy. I mean, Sammy and I can't complain. We're both in playoffs. So it is what it is.
The only thing we did have to tell teams is like, is that you couldn't have like all of your games be on like Saturdays and Sundays because that's not fair to the other teams. Like if it's every once in a while, that's fine. But because of the fact that the scheduling had to be week by week, it isn't fair to all the other teams to have every single game be on a Saturday or a Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it worked out. I think we're just happy to be in playoffs. I mean, to the Eddie's point, yes, Supernova and Buff Katarina are going to play each other before the live finals.
If you both win.
If we both win. The problem is that we have to play one another to go to the live final. So if people were hoping to see like Buff Katarina versus SN in the finals, it's probably not going to happen. I mean, one of us has to go home. So you'll get to see us in semis. Yeah. You'll get to, hopefully, I mean, Sammy's always rooting for SN, you know, for those that don't know, secret fanboy. But, I mean, we're hoping that it's going to be Zenith and SN in the live finals. That's the goal right now. But we'll take what we can get. We'll be happy with whoever moves on.
Yeah, finally get to meet you guys there.
Yeah, that's true. Wait, Hyper, is it top 4 prizing or top 2?
I believe it's top 4.
Hey, Sammy, I'm trying to get a payday, bro.
Supercat or Shadows could confirm in the chat. I believe it is top 4.
What is this? Hold on.
Okay, Goldie does have another question
3.
regarding things. The creation of orgs and players wanting to play for the teams as a new thing or coming in from another team. Like from my point of view, it seems a bit harder to join some of these starting out teams that are not on the same level as Supernova or Zenith and the other teams on your team's levels due to the fact, and when I say they, I don't mean all.
I got you, Hyper. I'll TLDR for you, bro. Nah, it just, I mean, the question is pretty self-explanatory. Like, the teams that want to be in it, they can't be at our level. So that makes them want to drop out. And then, you know, they promise they want players for, no, you're good. Your English is fine, homie. The players that want them, they say they're long-term, but then after a week or two, they just drop. At the end of the day, like, it comes down to what Sammy said in the beginning. You want the longevity, you got to put in the work. And the brands need to, like, nut up and stop letting people go after a week of losses. The players, if they're going to set goals for themselves, they need to stick to their goals. But it comes from the encouragement factor. You know, like, you don't, as a brand, encourage the players through their losses, man. Nobody likes to lose. That sucks. I can admit, like, I mean, I saw firsthand. Like we dropped a game 5. We were 10,000 gold up.
Supernova second place.
Yeah, it sucks.
That
And
was
it
rough.
sucks. It sucks. Like I saw. I mean, and
I feel it, man.
no pointing fingers, but like I've seen players that were the happiest people when we got there. Like it's detrimental. Like nobody wants to lose. But I think that I would rather lose in a beginning phase than I would at like when you're at a position where Sammy, myself, and other teams are at. The expectations are so much higher. When you're at the point where some of the newer teams are at, you have so much room to grow. Nobody is expecting anything from you, which may be a good or bad thing, but like nobody's
It's a very
expecting
good
anything.
thing.
Yeah, you have so much room to grow. Like if you end up in the position with us to compete, people are going to be like, God damn, where did that team come from?
Yep.
And
If you
that's
don't
only
mind me
good for you.
If you don't mind me making an example, one
Yeah.
good example of this was Vireo Pro back when they burst onto the scene. Everybody was like, okay, this is a team that's like they want to land, and then they beat Polar Ace during their peak. Like they were the only one out of like that top, I would say not in like that big like old guard teams to actually take a match off of Polar Ace in 2018. And everybody was kind of like, okay, yeah, it's like this is one of those orgs. It's like it's so much hype around Vireo now. It's like they took a game off of them. And on the flip side for Polar Ace, everybody's like they're struggling. So it's kind of like that flip of what's expected and how it looks depending on
I think the scene does that to itself though. I think that I think people hype up way too many just one-offs. Like if you take a game off of somebody, I will high five you, give you the pat on the head and like congrats, like way to go, you put in the work, you got a game.
No,
But I
be
think people
consistent.
Yeah, I think I'll be consistent. I think people blow one-offs way too far. Like yeah, PA is gonna drop games, SN's gonna drop games, and it's like we're supposed to drop games. We're human. Like if somebody was like 42-0 in this scene, it would be no fun to play in. So yeah, I mean, hey, all credit to
They were
Vireo.
close.
Yeah, all credit to Vireo back in the day for taking their wins where they got them. But I mean, hey man, if you want to be a team in this scene, start from the bottom, take your win your Battle 5 tournaments. That's a good place to start. Some Battle 5 tournaments on the weekends, win that stuff, and then start by winning your IELs, win your UMLs. Once you think that you've progressed enough to where like IEL teams and when UML teams and IEL teams like aren't even competitive for you, cool. All right, now start considering like UCL. Like I think that Upsurge, all credit to them, has a good system. You start at the bottom, you then get to the UCL, you do the UPL, like you start to move your way up. When you're at a point, the rest of us, I mean, I don't know if Sammy did it this year. I know we didn't. But if we're in UPL, that gives you an opportunity to play against us. Like, and then really gauge yourself. I think the problem that we have right now, and I don't know if Sammy has gotten an increase in messages, is that like so many of you guys like message us like, hey, can we scrim?
Yeah.
It's not
It's not beneficial for us.
It's not beneficial, right? Yeah, we don't want to.
It's not a knock on you. It's just our players need to grow, and us like killing your Nexus in 15 minutes doesn't help us.
Yeah, and I know like so many owners will message me back like, hey, we want you to do that. Like we want you to beat up on us, but like you don't.
But we don't. We don't want to.
We don't want to either. Like it's not good for your mental. And I know you guys are like, no, they got strong mental. They want to learn something, but like all they're gonna learn is like your macro is bad, your lane is bad. Anybody can just tell you that. Like, so I think like, I know Hyper like has all kinds of topics tonight, but like the thing is like at the end of the day, like we get it. People want to see some new brands. They want to see some new players. Look, I'm getting tired of seeing me too, but
I'm not.
Yeah, don't sell me on that if your brand doesn't make it 60 days.
And remember, bringing you guys brings in viewers. I'm cool.
Oh yeah, like look, me and Sammy are all about the viewership. Look, Sammy and I, we'll high five each other if that brings in the viewership. But we want some new teams. I want some new players.
Mm-hmm.
And I know so many people are like, oh, but we can't get on your teams. We want to play for you guys. Okay, cool. Like I run programs all the time. They give you that opportunity. Sammy, this man's the king of running some tryouts with like 18 people in it. There's always an opportunity.
Like 25, okay? Like give a little credit. But
yeah.
Like I've had people like players that are, D1 master like come and say, hey, like what's the process of getting on Zenith? And I'm like, all right, well, let me like spectate you for a game. They play a game, I'm like, okay, this guy's decent. I say, hey, do you want to just come spectate scrims and listen to coaching, like, and listen to what comms are like and kind of get your foot in the door? And I'll do that for you. Like, no, you're not going to be on the main roster, but if you want to learn and grow, then you can play with the team. And then if someone calls in, I'll let you sub for a game and see how you pan out.
Yeah, I think
So
Sammy makes a good point. I think that's one thing that I would love to see as a new wave, like especially like so if you're like a team that's not going to go to playoffs, or if you're a team that's got some wiggle room, I think it'd be cool to start seeing some new subs. I think like, hey, shout out to my man Chukis. They didn't get to play a whole lot of games for Azio this this year, but like that, right? Like I'd like to see people start subbing out for some new talent. I think it'd be cool to see, people giving others opportunities. I think it does get boring to kind of. I mean, boring is a strong word. I think it does get kind of written
Stale.
out, stale repetitive to see the same players. I think it would be cool to throw some new people in there, like see Supernova sub in like like a top laner, or sub in like a support, or Zenith to whip out. Like Zenith is the kings of whipping out some new talent. I'm always about seeing some quantum physics mid lane. I'm about it.
people were sleeping on him. He is very,
And then
very
he
good.
had a 50% kill share in week 1.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm about it. That's what we need.
50%.
But like I think that other teams have a good opportunity. Like Azio's got a good chance. You like to bring out some new talent. I have an opportunity to do it. So I think that's a good starting point. But to Sammy's point, like we're not just gonna pick randoms to sub in. Yeah, that would be funny, but like bring a resume to us that we can work with. Show us some wins. But you gotta build that resume through other brands. I don't know what to tell you. Start there.
It's like nobody starts at the top.
That's right. Show me that you have committed to something. Show me you were on a team for longer than 6 months. Show me that team progressed and won some things. Show me that your solo queue speaks for itself. And hey, we'll talk numbers. I'll get you to where you want to be. But yeah, I mean, to that point, this might be a silly question, but does team revenue usually come in from solely on winning tournaments / sponsorships, or are there any other avenues for income? Yo, Sam, you want to start this question?
Sure. It's
Where the money come from, Sammy?
money comes from my
Where the
9 to
money
5.
at?
I know that Tyler actually does have some sponsorships. I don't personally for Zenith. We do have a clothing sponsor. Shout out to Pride. They made our new logo, and our jerseys are pretty sick. So if you want one, it's getpride.com/Zenith. But
Odd flex, but all right.
yeah, but it does come like 90% of additional revenue on top of what I make in my 9 to 5 is tournaments.
Yeah, I think, I mean, to Sammy's point, I know he thinks that we got cakewalks sponsors, but no, I think that the revenue is just what you give is what you get, and that's the standard that you got to set. I mean, I had this conversation tonight with some people. It's like, it's so easy to, it's like gambling. That's what amateur scene is. It's gambling. You're on the odds all the time. Like look at, I know we always harp on them because they've had rough, but like look at the ex-Polar Ace roster, right? They went out to Midwest and people were like, yo, they're top 2 100%. And suddenly like they weren't even breaking in because they had to get through Bloody. And like I think at the end of the day, it's like there is no such thing as revenue. I mean, there are sponsors, like shout out to people like Pride and MSI and things like that supply things, but they're just they're not really monetary. They're more just
As a product.
Product, yeah. And the product is good. Like if I don't, again, I know they're gonna get a lot of shout outs in here, but they're also a Dark Star sponsor. But shout out to Pride. Like if I need something, those guys don't hesitate. They get it to me on the fly. And that's great. And I think that's where a lot of it, should stem from. But it really depends what you have as a setup for your players. Like if you're gonna go to an event, set the standard like, hey, if we win money, I am taking my money back. If I pay $1,000 in flights and we win 1,000, I am taking that $1,000 because it's just recuperating the cost like we talked about earlier. And then like if you can bear it, like hey, set a standard. Like hey, look, I want to recuperate my cost, and if we win a certain amount, I want 5%. That's a good way to start building some revenue. But players are not gonna want that,
Players aren't going to want to give you 5%.
No, that look, man, like I have met some players that are like, no, it's 100% or nothing. Like, what?
The first LAN we won was the Wichita Esports back in 2017, and we agreed to split up the pricing after we'd won it. There was nothing concrete set in stone. Never again. I lost my ass on that. Even though we won and I should have recouped my money, I still lost like $2,500.
Right.
Now
Sammy's too nice.
Trying to remember who was on my
not
roster.
anymore. No, that was the one. That was a lesson learned, right? And moving forward, no, it's always that I get my money back first because I'm the one taking the risk. I'm providing you a free vacation. I appreciate that you are playing for me, and we're growing together. And I really do appreciate what you do for the org. But you're not the one throwing $3,000 on flights and food and everything else, So.
Yep.
I'm going to recoup my money first, and then we'll split the pot. But
Right.
it's never I'm getting my money back, and then you guys get the rest.
If we can't sell you on the experience, like if the fact that you don't have to pay for a single thing while you're there, and you get to enjoy the entire experience isn't enough for you, you probably are in the wrong scene because
Yeah,
we're here to provide
this
an
is
experience,
amateur, bro.
Yeah, we're here to provide an experience.
It's-
I'm not here to provide your salary.
It's
So-
no offense to most people when I say this, but I say as someone who's like did like own an org, like yeah, a lot smaller, a lot less expenses, but still, I have players wanting to like get all the money and all that. People forget it's like you get to do all this stuff for free at a LAN versus it just being an online thing. This isn't like the TCS where everybody just you don't have to be flown anywhere. There's no money involved in it. No, these are guys who are literally paying for everything for you at the LAN. And
Yeah.
you're wanting even more.
I mean, look, I get it. Some guys, like me and Sammy personally met people like this pays your rent. I get it, man. Like I am not gonna take your entire prize pool and tell you peace out. Like thanks for the experience. Like, hey, we are gonna split this as fairly as possible so that I get my money back, you guys get paid, and the staff gets paid, and we all get to go home happy. Like this is an experience. This, like Sammy said, this is an experience for him and I. Like it's just time. Like we enjoy going to the events, we enjoy watching them, and we enjoy like what it brings. I mean, the most recent one, going to Wichita, like yeah, we lost. We took second. Like second was still, it wasn't what we expected, but I can't tell you what it was like sitting at breakfast, kind of bummed out about second even that next day, and then watching on the local news, seeing like, hey, like this place actually cares about esports, seeing your players on there, and then literally the waitress going, oh, hey, that's you guys, and it's like, yeah, actually that is us. Like that sold enough. I'm about it. I appreciate that. So if that's what you're looking for, welcome aboard. If you're looking for like something to pay your rent every month, hey, wrong place, fam. Probably want to go somewhere else. But it kind of segues into the question that Goldie asked, like, hey, like I see people shelling out $250 a month, $500. Look, if you don't see Sammy and I advertising for $500 a month for a player, it's either a scam or somebody is selling you on like, hey, if we win, you get 500. But that's the same thing as just splitting prizing. So it's like you're not really making any money.
Oh man, someone told me something. I can't remember who messaged me, but there was an org recruiting. They're like, we're gonna give you $1,000 a month, but you got to work with us for 3 months for a trial period, and then we're just gonna give you 3,000 lump sum. I was like,
I know what you're
back
talking about.
out. You do not
Yeah.
want any part of that.
Don't
This
sign
is
on that one,
Escalate
fam.
Legion all
I'm
over
not touching
again. Like,
that with the
stay
10-foot
away.
pole because the fact that I actually know which orgs you're talking about, both of
I mean,
them.
we all know they make it public. It's not. We go to the script server and see it. I mean, look, I want to give money. Look, when I got the money to start paying salaries, I'll be the first person to do it. I think that if you have an agreement, like for instance, we'll just use an example. It's not true, but if you sign an academy player and you decide like, hey, we're gonna give them something small, cool. You got to respect that value, and I think that you're paying for the value of it. Now, look at teams like Polaris. Like, I've personally gotten to speak to them and their entire team. Like, that is a team that has won a lot. TCS, like they are a roster of what I consider almost academy ready players, or if not academy ready players. Those guys do not turn around and ask for salary. I'm sure Jurassic, Odd Orange, Winter, those guys would love to make an extra $500 a month. But if they're top tier talent and they're not asking for it, then your D3 like body should not be coming to me asking for it. Because I know top tier talent that won't ask. They'll just ask for their even split. So if an org is asking for money, or is offering money, they're not approaching this in the right way, or they're not sustainable, and they're going to be gone in 3 months. Because, I mean, they think by offering money, you can fast track the process to like your original question. If I offer money, I can fast track a roster that's good that can then compete with Zenith, Supernova, Bloody. Okay, maybe, but what happens when A, you run out of money, or B, the players realize this environment sucks? Because players will leave money if the environment's not.
See,
So-
one of the 5 players like doesn't click with everyone else, and
Yeah.
they've got an attitude problem. Okay.
You can pay for the best. You can have an all academy roster. Go for it. But if they don't click, you just paid for nothing. Like they could just lose out. I mean, it happens. So, yeah, just be careful with it, man. Like you just got to be smart. Like if you don't see the big 6 is what I guess I'm gonna start calling them. If you don't see the big 6 offering it, it's probably not realistic. I mean, I think that the first place that a lot of us will start, if anything, will be with our staff. I mean, these guys that work day in and day out, that'll be the place that we start cutting paychecks for. Not that players should be last on the scale, but players are usually not a longevity thing. Players come and go. It's the coaches and your managers and things that stay long term that need to be looked at first. And I know some like managers and coaches in the chat are like, yeah, pay us. Like, trust me, we want to pay everybody that we can. I want to get paid, but this is a passion project. This isn't you're supposed to be your long term anyway. So take your even split, high five your homies and call it a day.
Mm-hmm. So I would like to end on this topic here and kind of also a tying question. Eddie did ask earlier, we never got around to it, where you guys would rank the top amateur teams. And Tyler and Sammy, why don't you guys tell me, it's like, who do you feel are like that big 6 of amateur before we start ranking them, like in terms of how the people currently stand?
I mean, I always say 6 because I don't like leaving anybody out, Sammy. Okay, but if you want to be that guy to like leave somebody out on the playground, go for it, bro.
All right. I'll do the big names, like in my opinion. Supernova, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Azio, Buff Katarina.
These are in no order, right?
No, this is. He said just name them. I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Sure, bro.
Zenith.
That's
That's
Azio,
it.
Zenith, Buff Katarina, Supernova.
Am I missing anyone?
Who else did you mention? I know you mentioned one other.
As aside from like collegiate teams, like, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, I said Polaris, I think, but I meant.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna follow a lot. Like, I mean, this we kind of go over this a lot too. I mean, my own team I always put up there. I mean, again, it might be just me blowing smoke, but I think that results and longevity speak for themselves. Buff Katarina for sure, Azio for sure, Zenith for sure, Bloody for sure.
Oh, I mean, those Bloody because they're
that's
not.
One thing about Bloody is have they been around long enough? It's like this is coming. I say, I know I might actually get in a little bit of trouble for saying this, seeing as I work for the org that kind of runs the team, but still, have they been around long enough to be considered like one of those like big orgs currently, or is it that?
I wouldn't say that they're considered.
Good?
I wouldn't say the brand's considered big. I just think that their results have given them the name that they deserve. Like, I mean, if you're looking for like brands, like the only brands I consider old dogs are Zenith and itself. Like I wouldn't put Azio up in the old dog realm. I wouldn't put Polaris up in there. Like I think those orgs have gotten the exposure they do from their results. But if you're talking about people that have been around for a long time, like it really is like the OGs are Zenith and SN. Like we are the oldest. But that doesn't mean we're the best. Just because we're old doesn't mean anything. We've been around a long time. Yeah, it just means
Isn't Dawn another one of those like super old ones?
Dawn is old-ish.
But they didn't like have the nearly same results.
Yeah, I mean Sammy's like old. Like look at Sammy. He's been in the challenger scene. Like I think he gets gray hair and I don't even see him. You know what I'm saying? But
I don't have any gray hair yet. I'm 36.
I know.
So.
Yeah. Hey, don't put your age out there, Sammy. Damn.
Sorry.
Everyone thinks you're 17, bro.
My B.
Sammy's
my
young.
What is it? My 19th anniversary of my 17th birthday.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, like
being like the Thor and the resident like old wise person of the amateur scene.
I just don't like. I hope that people like Dawn don't go around selling themselves as like the OGs.
Oh no, they
I hope
haven't.
not.
It's just I knew that they were
Okay.
very
I was about to
old.
say because like we gotta have a conversation, bro.
No. They don't do that. I was just saying it's like if I'm not mistaken, people always mention them as like one of like the old
Yeah,
forward.
I mean they're older. I mean I think their program's good. I mean we met a lot of players this winter and fall that were like, yo, I used to play for this Dawn team or that Dawn team, and it was like, damn, Dawn has a lot of ex players. I'll give them credit, and a lot of people use them as a piece on their resume as players. If you are confident enough in using Dawn as a piece on your resume, hey, they must be doing something right. So more power to you. But I just don't consider them an OG. Like if you come to me and you're like, yeah, I was on Zenith for a year and a half. All right, we can talk. Let's talk. Because Sammy wouldn't have kept you for that long if he didn't believe in you. So
What's up, Belconic? Oh, Lethan.
that's the boy.
All right, so now let's move on to our final topic with the rankings currently.
Ooh.
Let's
Which
just
league,
say
amateur or
in amateur, yeah, and
big?
also
Okay.
to be fair, let's include UCI and Maryville in that.
All right, you want us to include CSL team.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sam. You get to start, bro.
Oh, don't bring up
All right,
CSL.
I'll do
Ew.
it. All right. Bloody,
Yeah, I'll say we'll give you 6 to be safe.
bloody. Probably. I think that Buff Katarina was a bit inconsistent, if I'm honest, but I'll still give them. I'll give them a 2.5, and I'll also give Supernova a 2.5.
Fair enough.
I think that that's 3. I think that I'm gonna give Zenith 3.5 and Azio 3.5, and then probably I think that UCI is actually a better team than Maryville. I'm sorry, Niles, I love you. And then Maryville.
Wait.
So there's the top 7.
Bring it up though. I will have to mention that UCI has lost to Maryville 4 games in a row in the past 3 days.
I think that UCI is. That's hard to argue with. Okay, I was not familiar with that
also have to
statistic.
point out.
I just
Now you
think
got
that
the
on
statistic.
paper, I don't have them
addition,
in
though,
front
I
of me.
will
You
say
just
that-
said name them, man. You didn't say, hey, here's a chart of the.
Hey man, I don't got charts on deck,
matches,
okay?
bro.
I will say on the same time, though, to support your position of it, Youngbin did not play either series.
Yeah, so they already handicapped us. Fair.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I think following Sammy that like, if we're doing an order, like, yeah, I mean, again, I'm not sure. I mean, Bloody's first for sure. I think they've earned that right. I mean, we went all 5 games, so I don't. For me, it's like hard to say like, hey, they're number 1. Like, yeah, okay, they earned the title. I'll give them 1. Fine for now.
We 2-0'd them. So.
Yeah, and Zenith
But I'm
2-0'd
still
them.
giving it to them.
Yeah, I'll give it to him. You know, it is what it is. I think I appreciate people like Sammy, and I think most of the like even with like 6 straight losses, people still put SN in top 2. Like I would say right now we're like a 3rd place team. I think Buff Katarina beats us 9 times out of 10, even with their inconsistency. I think we're just not in a good spot right now. So I would say they're 2, we're 3. I would say based off recent results, I would put Zenith in 4, and I put Azio in 5. But like Sammy said, I think that match goes either way. Like if you do a best of 5, you're going all 5 games, which I think would be cool to see. So I think they're very close, which is cool to see them both still in the top 4-ish area. I still putting Maryville. I'll put Maryville in 6. Yeah, and I would put UCI 7. I'm being the same boat as Sammy. Like I put Maryville higher based off results, but I also haven't seen UCI at their full strength. They're always using somebody in some position to sub for something, which I mean they're college students. It happens. I think Maryville, like one thing we got to keep in mind, they're doing it coachless, which I think speaks extremely. I mean,
That's not true. Niles is a coach.
Niles.
He really is, though. Like it's not. If you have Niles on your team, you're not coaching.
I thought Walrus was their coach for a bit, and now West has taken over that position.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know. I thought it was coachless. So if it is, more power to him. If it's not, hey, more power to him. They're still better than UCI, I think. I mean, but again, we haven't seen that UCI at full potential. So maybe hopefully they'll both be in top 4. I don't even know how ULOL works anymore. So
I'm trying to remember who was on UCI when you guys played them. Did Bloodwater and Youngbin both play that game?
No.
They did not.
No. Just one.
Okay, that is news to me.
Yeah, no, I don't think they both played that game. I'm pretty sure both games have had 1-1. So that's why I don't know. Like college teams are always hard to rank. College teams are one thing that are inconsistent. I mean, look at my boys from UT Dallas. They're starting to make a come up, and like Sammy said, or I said earlier, like they're barely breaking 16-minute games with the Midwest thing. So I don't know. Colleges surprise you.
Yeah, I say UGD has overall impressed me. Overall, so I'd say that. I mean, honestly, I think it's hard to argue with either of them, except for I do find it funny. It's like the two owners in here that y'all swapped each other's teams, and the last match was a 2-0 for Sammy. Nope, I'm pointing the wrong way. But yeah, I think
These things
that
happen.
I
These
think if
things
that
happen.
no, but I definitely think that it will be interesting to see like how these playoffs play out because the playoffs will be best of 5. A lot of hype matches there. As you said, Tyler, there's the Schism versus Supernova. Sammy, your team still is meeting up, but you will play one of the 6 of like ASIO Eradicate. So whenever ASIO Eradication, Fruition, UTD, Michigan State, Team Clarity, UCI. Other than UCI, and let's say Clarity because of the fact that well, how about here's a better question. Of Fruition, UTD, and Michigan State, who do you think is the strongest team of that bunch?
UTD. Yeah, UTD for.
Agree. I don't know these teams that well.
I don't know I don't know the other ones
But
well enough.
If they beat ASIO 2-1, then I'll go UTD.
Yeah, UTD I think's got a pretty solid roster behind them.
All right, so I was saying right now in the points totals, the winner of AZ over and Eradication will be in the lead, so they will likely hold the 6th place if they end up winning out against Fruition. Fruition also would hold the 6th spot if they ended up winning their series against that winner. Let me see if the match for ASIO and Eradication has ended. No, it is currently in game 3.
Gotcha.
Oh, really?
Yes. So that means that the winner will, in fact, be tied with Fruition, and the winner of that one.
Yeah,
ASIO
dropped a game. Holy.
So that means, in all likelihood, that Zenith would play either the winner of UT Dallas and Michigan State, or the winner of UCI and Clarity.
There's a.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give us Michigan State or UTD.
It's like let's avoid UCI, right?
Yeah, I mean we can beat them. It's just they're a better team, so we'd rather play someone.
Yeah, we always want to play
as a warm up in the playoffs.
Bottom tier teams first.
That's kind of how it's set up, right? So.
Right, exactly. Ideally, if you do it right.
Absolutely. Also, to chat, Schism was 16th, and it is kind of a joke now that 16th is now the 5th seed in playoffs.
Hey, it's pretty dope. Hey,
it is funny how things work out like that.
Yeah.
So they were. I will have to admit though, and I know that is the last topic. I will have to say this tournament has given me many surprises in terms of teams just overperforming, over showing up. Again, Maryville overcoming ASIO and then UCI. UTD overcoming ASIO and then taking a game off of Supernova. BG19 as a team, I expected nothing from, and I'm pleasantly surprised there as well. I mean, they took a game off of UCI and then 2-0'd Michigan State in their first outing. So honestly, yeah. I think that if Amateur just needs a little bit of a push.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, though, with that topic, that is like the worst way to end it. I don't know how to do an outro. Damn it.
I got you, bro. You want me to do your outro for you for this?
Go for it, man.
I'll make one up on the spot. All right. Hey, thanks you everybody for coming and watching the Dark Zone tonight, where we took the dark and brought some light to it with SammyB, myself, and Hypertension tonight, going over everything amateur. Be sure to catch us. When do we do this? Like every Saturday?
Every other Saturday.
All right. Be sure to catch us next Saturdays. We'll have 2 new guests. Hyper,
Two
who's next week?
Saturdays from now.
2
Oh,
Saturdays.
2 Saturdays. 2 Saturdays from now, as
And
we'll
it might
have
be moving to Sundays. Well, catch us next time.
this man. So catch us next time, hopefully with some more energetic guests. You know, we'll have some coaches on here, some players, whoever you guys want to see, you want to put them in the chat. We'll bring the hype if you'll bring the viewership. Until next time, this is the Dark Zone.
Just one question real quick. Did you mean more energetic as in more energetic than us, or more energetic
I
as
don't
in
know, man. I'm
more
trying to give them,
energetic
man.
people because we were energetic?
Maybe there'll be some people that like the
Also
trash
energetic
talk.
people.
You know?
Oh,
God,
okay. I'm
Sammy.
not. I'm not a trash talker.
You like
so-
the cranky old guy in the wheelchair. Stop it.
Sorry, bro.
Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Goodbye and good night.
Later.